iPhone versus Android. Which is right for you? When you decide to buy your first smartphone, your first decision is which one to buy. The main options are iPhone and Android. Although both offer many great features, iPhone and Android are very different in many ways. Whatever phone you have, it's not perfect. However, that doesn't mean switching will automatically make you happier. Before making the switch, you need to take a closer look at each of the following 8 features, depending on the features important to you. Hardware, operating systems, available apps, for price, security, virtual assistants, device integration, restoration. Depending on your specific needs, some items will be more important than others as you decide which phone to buy. 1. Hardware. The hardware is the first place where the difference between the iPhone and Android becomes apparent. Only Apple makes iPhones, so it has very tight control over how the software and hardware work together. On the other hand, Google offers Android software to many phone makers, including Samsung, HTC, and Motorola. Because of this, Android phones vary in size, weight, features, and quality. Premium-priced Android phones are just as good as the iPhone, but a cheaper Android device with fewer features is all you need. If you're buying an iPhone, you need to pick a model. Since many companies make Android devices, you should choose a brand and model. Some may prefer the choice, but others appreciate Apple's greater simplicity and higher quality. 2. Operating system. Android phones run on Google's Android operating system, while iPhones use Apple's iOS. In general, they do the same thing. You'll have a home screen with your most popular apps, including games and utilities, a phone app for making calls, a camera app for photos, and one for sending messages. Messaging app. They also use touch interfaces, including hardware, such as accelerometers or gyroscopes, for more functions. Apple releases a new version of iOS about every fall, with additional updates throughout the year. In the early days of Android, updates were less frequent and regular. Android 2.0 came out in 2009, while both 3 and 4 came out in 2011. Lately, however, Android has fallen more into an annual update cycle. Some Android device manufacturers, such as Samsung, use a slightly modified version of the operating system. Some Android manufacturers are slow to update their phones to the latest version of Android OS and sometimes don't update their phones at all. Apple typically supports phones that are 5 or 6 years old. Samsung supports phones for about 4 years, and Google supports the latest Pixels for 7 years. 3. Apps. The Apple App Store offers fewer apps than Google Play, but we're still talking about millions of apps, and selection isn't the most important factor. Apple is strict about what apps it allows, while Google's standards for Android are more relaxed. Apple's tighter controls are part of why its App Store has fewer offerings than Google's, which means you're less likely to download malware. Another advantage of Apple's centralized storefront is that the company is confident that everything there is compatible with available devices. The combination of multiple manufacturers of Android phones and low screening in the Google Play Store means that you can't be sure that the app you want will work with your particular phone. Also, the high selection and ability to download Android apps outside of the official Google Play Store may appeal to some users. 4. Price. Apple positions the iPhone as a premium device, and the price reflects that. You won't find a new one for less than $500. Meanwhile, Android-compatible phones are available at a wide range of prices, from about 100 to 20 times that amount. While it's possible to get a cheap Android phone, you may get what you pay for. If you want the new Samsung Galaxy or Google Pixel, high-end Samsung devices can cost as much or more than an iPhone. At this end of the range, there's little difference in quality between Android and iPhone. If you don't need a high-tech camera or other features, a cheap Android might be fine. However, the wide availability of payment plans from Apple, Google, and retailers means you can get a top-of-the-line phone quickly by paying monthly rather than in one go. These options make price less of an issue. 5. Security. If you care about the security of your smartphone, iPhone is more secure than Android. The main reason for this is the design of the operating system. Apple controls downloads. One of the most common ways to compromise digital security is by downloading malware, software designed to steal information or affect the way a device works. Apple works to prevent malware from appearing on its App Store, which is the primary way to get iPhone apps and the only way if you're not in the EU. Thus, the openness and flexibility of Android can become a liability. However, it is important to note that the iPhone is not immune to security threats. It is less likely to be targeted than Android-based phones. 6. Intelligent Assistant. Artificial intelligence and voice interfaces will push the next frontier of smartphone functionality. Android has a clear edge here. Google Assistant, the most prominent intelligent assistant droid, is very powerful. It uses everything Google knows about you and the world to make life easier. For example, if your Google Calendar knows you're meeting someone at 5:30 and the traffic is terrible, Assistant lets you leave early. Siri is Apple's answer to Google Assistant for artificial intelligence. It keeps getting better with every new iOS release. That said, it's still limited to relatively simple tasks and doesn't offer the advanced smarts of Google Assistant. iPhone users who don't like Siri can also use Google Assistant, while Android owners can't access Siri without an Apple product. 7. Device integration. Many people use tablets, computers, or wearables in addition to their smartphones. For them, Apple offers a better integrated experience. Since Apple makes computers, tablets, watches, and iPhones, it provides features that Android might not. For example, you can use your iPhone as a remote for your Apple TV. You can also unlock your iPhone or MacBook with Apple Watch. AirDrop lets you instantly transfer files and links between iPhone, Mac, or iPad without creating an email. Other Continuum features let you start a YouTube video on Apple TV and pick up where you left off on iPhone. AirPlay can let you share your Mac screen with Apple TV or use an iPad as a second monitor. Google services like Gmail, Maps, etc. work on all Android devices. But unless your watch, tablet, phone, and computer are all made by the same company, and besides Samsung, there aren't many companies that make products in all those categories. Android has no unified cross. No device experience. 8. Restoration. Apple emphasizes beauty and simplicity above all else in the iPhone. This is one of the main reasons why users cannot upgrade iPhone storage or replace batteries. iPhone batteries can be replaced but must be installed by a trained repair person. On the other hand, Android manufacturers often let users change the phone's battery and expand its storage capacity. The trade-off is that Android is a bit more complex and less beautiful, but it's worth it compared to running out of storage or avoiding paying for expensive battery replacements. Final decision. Both iPhone and Android provide solutions for people with different needs. If you already own Apple products like a Mac, iPad, or Apple TV, getting an iPhone is an easy choice. If flexibility or apps are important, go for Android. Different categories are more important to some people. Some will place more importance on hardware selection, while others will care more about battery life or mobile gaming. Both platforms offer good options for different people. You will need to decide which factors are most important and choose the phone that best meets your needs.